You're watching a segment of The Splash, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show.
I'm joined this week by Debbie Binder, Township Clerk and co-host of All Access. Debbie, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me with you today.
So first, the thing on everyone's mind, what's coming up, is elections.
Yes.
So what's going on in West Bloomfield regarding the upcoming elections?
Well, it's going to be a very busy 2020. We have 4 elections right now. We have the March 10th presidential primary that we're right in the midst of right now. Absentee ballots are available, but the clerk's office is hopping with the March 10th presidential primary. We have a May 5th school district election. We do have 7 school districts in West Bloomfield Township, so we're conducting elections for those school districts. This one will be specifically for Waterford and Bloomfield Hill schools. That's on May 5th. Then in August, on August 4th, we have the state primary, which is for all of the other partisan issues other than the presidential election. And then in November, we have the state general election, and we anticipate it to be just a big election year this year.
So it sounds like it's going to be a really busy year all around. Do you guys need people to work these elections? What's that process like?
Well, we know that we're going to possibly double, but at least increase 50% in our absent voter counting board, which is counting the absentee ballots.
Okay.
So we know we're going to need more people. We have, people retiring every year, creating vacancies, but we know that the number of ballots we're going to be processing, we need an increased number of people working. So we are recruiting and we are looking for additional election workers.
And you said this is something that would look good on a college resume?
It's a tremendous thing.
Anyone can do it?
Yeah, tremendous. We've had a few students, and I even get to write a recommendation for them when they go on to their graduate program or their undergraduate program, whatever it is they're going for. It's a great opportunity for somebody to have it on their college app or on their resume. It really is. It looks fabulous that you got involved with your community and you worked elections.
So what kind of stuff will these people be doing? Is in like how much time per week, and is there pay involved for these
They
positions?
do get paid.
Okay.
It's mainly election day, and then there's 2 2-hour trainings that they have to attend. So they come to the training. The election work, they get to practice once, twice, maybe 3 times a year, and they're expected to do a task that requires precision and accuracy. So we rely on training to compensate for what they don't get in experience. So the training is an important part of their preparation. Election day is a long day. I tell people all the time it's from 6 a.m. till probably somewhere between 9 and midnight. They get 2 1-hour breaks. Everyone complains it's a long day, and they all come back. So they enjoy it. They become a little precinct family. But it is a long day. There are 2 choices, 2 tracks people can choose. They can work in the precincts at a polling location, or they can work for the absent voter counting board, and that's where they count all of the absentee ballots. The AV counting board is a little bit more sedentary. The one issue with that is you cannot have your phone. It is a sequestered board. They may not have a phone or any other communication outside for the day. Now, to some people that sounds enticing, and to others that sounds like a nightmare. And I don't say that judgmental, because I would have a hard time being separated from my phone for the day. So we kind of talk about the 2 needs of the different areas and what one is a better fit. Would they rather be in a precinct where they're interacting with the public, or would they rather be in the absent voter counting board counting absentee ballots?
And with this year's absentee ballots, there's new legislation that passed. They're going to need a lot more people for these ballots, right?
We have a combination of things going on. We have, Proposal 3 of 2018 had allowed for no reason absentee voting. So we know that we're going to see a shift in voter habits going toward absentee voting. In addition to that, we've had a steady increase in the registered voters in West Bloomfield Township, as well as an increase in newly registered each year. And specifically in a large election year, we have a spike in a large number of increase in newly registered voters. So we know with all of those things together and that shift in voter habits, we're looking at record numbers. And to give you an idea what numbers we're looking at, Jake, in our largest election to date, in November of 2012, we processed 15,660 absentee ballots. We're looking with very realistic numbers to forecast between 21,000 and 31,000 absentee ballots on election day.
Wow. So it's going to get really busy this year.
It's going to be very busy.
So is this something, for people who are maybe voting absentee for the first time, like myself, is there any specific rules or like laws that we should know about going into the election?
Well, yeah, there's some specifics with absentee voting, and what I would say before everybody is listening to this and said, I missed that, call your clerk's office, because we can always give you the details. We can mail absentee ballots to a voter up till 4 p.m. the Friday before the election. Now, we do not mail an absentee ballot unless we've received an absentee ballot application. And that can be requested from the clerk's office, can be downloaded from the state website or the township's website, sent in digitally to the clerk's office with your signature, but we don't process an absentee ballot until we receive that. Now, the important thing that we need to get across to everybody is while we can take that application digitally, the ballot has to have time to physically be mailed to the absentee voter and mailed back to town hall. So, or mailed or brought back to town hall. So it does need to allow time. Now, back to earlier, they can request that by mail up till 4 p.m. on the Friday before. We are open Saturday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every Saturday prior to an election. From 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., actually on the Saturday before, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., they may come to town hall, request an absentee ballot, and they may take that with them and vote it at home and bring it back by Tuesday at 8 p.m. On Monday, they may also come to town hall from 8 to 4 to request an absentee ballot. But if they come between 8 and 4 on Monday, they have to vote that absentee ballot there at town hall. They may not leave town hall with that absentee ballot.
Okay. And what about for people who already voted? So say they already voted for a candidate in primary, the Democratic Party is very crowded, and their candidate drops out.
We've actually had quite a bit of that going on this week because that is happening. It's something that you can do in every election, but we're seeing that it's more prevalent right now as you see candidates dropping out of the primary. In any election, people can spoil the ballot they were issued, the absentee ballot they were issued, up to 4 p.m. the Monday before.
Okay.
They cannot spoil it on election day. Once it's in the absent voter counting board, they can't spoil it. But up to on Saturday, they may spoil their ballot in writing at the clerk's office, and we may mail them a new absentee ballot.
Okay.
On between 2 and 4 on Saturday, or on Monday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., they must come into town hall in person and spoil that absentee ballot. But we spoil it in the system and issue them a new ballot, and only the new ballot would count. So if anything changes your mind for any reason, but it's real common right now with people dropping out of the race, you can always spoil your absentee ballot until 4 p.m. the Monday before. The difference, there's a little bit of a difference in how you have to do it, but a quick call to town hall will straighten that out.
Awesome. So is there what kind of people would you recommend vote absentee, or who do you think this would be most valuable to?
Do you know what I know that some of the push now is to get people to know that they can vote at home and that they can vote with their information in front of them. One thing they don't know is they could also come to town hall, get a sample ballot that they could fill out like it was an absentee ballot, and bring it to with them on election day and vote in the precincts. So what I have historically found is voters are passionate whichever way they like to vote. If they like to vote absentee, they like to vote absentee. If they like to vote in the polls, they like that energy in the polls. They want, and I'm a poll voter. I like to leave with my sticker. That being said, this year I know how crowded it's going to be, and absentee voting sounds like it may be the way to do it this year.
Is there going to be a shortage of stickers?
There will not be a shortage of stickers, and there will not be a shortage of ballots. So, yeah, I would say that absentee voting is for anyone who wants to be able to have their voice heard, and it allows convenience. That you can vote at home on your schedule instead of having to get to the polls on election day.
Great. So before we wrap up, do you want to plug where people in West Bloomfield, where they can go to get their absentee ballots, what times they can receive all that again?
Yep, they can call. They can call the clerk's office if there's any questions. But if they come to the clerk's office, they can actually don't even have to bring an application. They can fill out an application right there. They will leave with their ballot in hand.
Okay.
Alternatively, they could send in their application to vote, and then we will send them an absentee ballot. One thing that people don't realize is when they do come to the window, if they have a spouse or a child or someone they're trying to get an absentee ballot for, we may only hand that ballot to the voter themselves or put it in the mail to the registered address. So we cannot give somebody someone else's ballot. So if they do come to town hall, and we do have this all the time, we'll issue the one ballot, we'll send the other one to the person's home. But if we receive that absentee ballot application in the mail, or it just gets, digitally, we will get that absentee ballot in the mail to the voter. We do have, what makes it convenient for people too, is what's called the permanent absent voter list. And that's a list of people that we have that we send an application every election that they're eligible to vote in. It automatically gets sent to their registered address. And then when we receive that application back, then we send an absentee ballot. We can't send that absentee ballot if we don't get that application back. And the best way to explain that is if you think that we sent an absentee ballot to a home in perpetuity, people would move, people would pass away, and that ballot would keep going. So unless we get that application returned with a signature on it, we don't send an absentee ballot.
Makes sense.
But that permanent absent voter list is extremely helpful because that means you're going to get that application in the mail each time there's an election that you're eligible to vote in, and then you send that back and we send you your absentee ballot by mail.
So there's a lot of ways for people to get their votes heard and to vote this election.
And you know, Jake, I always like to remind them too, our goal is you know, in our office, but also as a profession, and I know that all of my fellow clerks feel this way, our goal is to make voting as easy and accessible as we can to people and make it something that nobody lets their voice not be heard. So we will offer curbside. If somebody's out and it's hard for them to get out of the car, we will bring what we need to out to them. We really want to make it as easy as we can for our voters to get involved and to vote. I go speak all the time at groups to register voters, to do the applications for absentee ballots. If anyone wants me to come speak somewhere, I'm happy to do it. You know, I was a teacher in West Bloomfield School District for many years. It's an opportunity to get out there and teach. I enjoy it, but it's an opportunity to make sure everybody gets their voice heard, and that's really what it's about, making sure everyone gets an opportunity to vote.
Well, I'm sure the people of our community really appreciate all that.
So it's my pleasure. I really do enjoy serving, and I'm happy for any suggestions, any involvement. I welcome input, and really welcome involvement with getting people out. You know, get out there and work an election. Get out there and vote, but get out there and work an election. We welcome you, and I think you'll enjoy the experience.
All right, awesome. Well, once again, we've been joined by Debbie Binder.
You're watching a segment of The Splash, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show.